Have you ever noticed how often we look to the skies for answers? Whether it's during a thunderstorm or in the quiet of a sleepless night, humans seem hardwired to search for something bigger than ourselves. But what if, in all that searching, there's nothing looking back? What if there is no God? Now hold on. Before you click away, this isn't about proving or disproving anyone's beliefs. Instead, we're diving into the deep end of one of humanity's most profound questions. Without a divine presence guiding us, what happens to meaning, morality, and purpose? And spoiler alert, it's not all doom and gloom. In fact, the answer might surprise you. Throughout history, gods have been at the center of civilizations. From ancient Egypt's Ra to the Greek pantheon to modern-day religions, faith has shaped art, law, and even our concepts of good and evil. It's been our compass, telling us what's right and wrong, giving us comfort in times of chaos. But if that compass isn't pointing to anything real, does that mean we're lost? Let's think about morality for a second. Many believe that right and wrong come from divine commands. No God, no rules, right? But here's the thing. Some of the greatest thinkers, like Socrates and Confucius, argued that morality is less about divine orders and more about human flourishing. Think about empathy, fairness, and kindness. You don't need a heavenly rulebook to know hurting others is bad. It's baked into us as social creatures. If it weren't, societies wouldn't function, and we probably wouldn't be here right now. Still, the idea of nothingness can be terrifying. Without a God, who do we thank for the good days? Who do we blame for the bad ones? It might feel like the universe becomes this vast, indifferent expanse where we're just tiny, insignificant specks. But let's flip that perspective. If there's no grand puppet master pulling the strings, then doesn't that make what we do even more important? The meaning isn't handed to us. It's something we create. And creating meaning is something humans are really good at. Look at art, music, science, relationships. Every masterpiece, every love story, every cure for a disease, they all come from us, not some higher power. If anything, the absence of a God doesn't shrink our importance, it magnifies it. We are the architects of our destiny, the painters of our canvas. That's pretty empowering, don't you think? But let's address the elephant in the room. If there's no afterlife, does life lose its value? Not necessarily. In fact, it might make life even more precious. Think of it this way. Would you value a diamond if you had an infinite pile of them? Probably not. The fact that life is finite gives it urgency. Every moment becomes an opportunity, one you can't get back. It's a little terrifying, sure, but also liberating. You don't have to wait for divine permission to chase your dreams or make a difference. You just do it. And let's talk about something hilarious that happens when you start seeing life without a divine blueprint. You realize how many human rituals are utterly ridiculous, and wonderfully so. Like, who decided birthday cakes should have candles? Or that we should yell at a piñata before whacking it with a stick? None of it makes logical sense, but it's fun, and it brings us together. That's humanity in a nutshell, finding joy in the absurd, even in the face of existential questions. Here's another thought experiment. If there's no God, what's stopping us from being gods ourselves? I don't mean in a thunderbolt-throwing Zeus kind of way. I'm talking about using our collective power to shape the world, solve problems, and uplift each other. Technology, medicine, education, these are our modern miracles. We've gone from hunting mammoths to exploring other planets, and we did it with nothing more than brains, cooperation, and sheer stubbornness. But there's a catch. If we're responsible for creating meaning, we're also responsible for the messes we make. Climate change, inequality, wars, these aren't acts of gods, they're acts of us. And that's where things get tricky. Without a divine scapegoat, we're left holding the bag. But maybe that's not such a bad thing. If we own our mistakes, we're also the ones who can fix them. So where does that leave us? Is a godless universe bleak, or is it beautiful? Maybe it's both. Maybe the beauty lies in its imperfection, in the fact that we're writing this story as we go along. It's messy, it's chaotic, and sometimes it's downright absurd, but it's ours. Before we wrap up, let me leave you with this thought. The question isn't whether there's a God. It's what we do with the time we have, regardless of the answer. Whether you believe in a higher power or not, we're all part of the same big, crazy experiment called life. And if you're still searching for meaning, maybe it's already in your hands. If you enjoyed this journey through one of life's biggest what-ifs, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. I promise there's more where this came from. And trust me, the universe is full of fascinating questions just waiting to be explored.